This is Gemara and Chagigah Daf Yud Gimel. All the learning should be incredible. So shidduch we so chayim the version. Remember, as he's a good to shantas, shanmal kol mordechai besam shentas. It's good to besam shental. Shema ben Chai opening banteli shaman lebizav. They shvan the shidduch b'karam hamish. As well as chus for shleim of shalias ben your faith and ben go chayim research some siman reid the zerbas kanandi to basim as chayv sel mendel. Eliezer Paris ben you the shavalei shalom as nami v'shavei shulchan shmo batil din chan reizum chayv asmina. At the name of Hashem the tzvi v'gedvar rivkov the shalom of talmid siman chlas amram ben yakozer baskila. Shlomen Yisachar shlomen Yisachar ben Asi Yehudis. Rafal Abram ben Rachladei Shimshon ben Chana Abigail Pero bas Esther Miriam Gavrila bas Luma Yisrael Yisrael ben Dina Rucham Yisrael Miriam bas Cyril Bracha B'Sai Shar Chali Yisrael. We're holding on the very top of Yud Gimel Amud Aleph. Continuing this long Egadatic Gemara, and again, just a reminder, we're just going to get the basic explanation, perhaps even translation, as these are extremely deep and complicated matters that one can spend much time. Anyone has the time, even the article notes are long and lengthy, incredible, but for us, let's at least just get a Pashib shot. There is a Rakia heaven above the head of the Chayos. It was a likeness on top of the head of the Chaya, Rakia Ke'ina Kerach, like an awesome ice. Hanayra, that was incredible. Ad kan yishcha rishos ladaber, mikan veilach, aim rishos ladaber. Till you get to there, the head of the Chayos, done. You can't talk anymore about what's on top of the Chayos, the celestial angels, etc. Why? Shkein kasav is ever ben zira b'mufla b'mcha, as written in the book of Ben Zira, b'mufla b'mcha al tidrash, that which is removed from you, you should not inquire. B'mchus b'mcha al tachkar, that which is covered from you, you should not probe. B'masher shrisa is binding, that which you are allowed to learn, that you shall learn. You're not allowed to deal with istaris, with different esoteric matters, and just parenthetically, this is one of the big mekayres that they discuss. As we'll see, different ages, when one is allowed to learn different topics, etc. This is one of the sources for the learning of Kabbalah, when one is allowed to, and at what level, what age one is allowed to, etc. Tanya, we learned in a Raisa, Amar Rav Yechon ben Zakir, about 8 lines down, Yigimel Amud Aleph. What was the heavenly voice responded to the wicked person to Nebuchadnezzar b'shasha Amar, when Nebuchadnezzar said, Ela Bama say of Adama le'elyon, and when Nebuchadnezzar said, I'm going to go all the way up on top of the clouds, I'm going to liken myself to God. What did the Baskal tell Nebuchadnezzar when he said he's going to go up and contend with Hashem? Yata Baskal v'amar like Rasha ben Benoi shall Nimrod Rasha. You evil wicked person. That rebelled against the whole world. He said, how many years can man live? Shivim Shana. Shenamar, you mentioned the Savabayim Shivim Shana, 70 years. You're very strong. Fine. Shmainim Shana. Vahaloi. And how long is it going to take you to travel up to the heavens? Minaret al Rakia, from the ground to the heavens. Mahalechamish Shana is 500 years. We're not done yet. Va'oiv shal Rakia, and the thickness of the Rakia. So up to 1,000 years. Being called Rakia between each and every one of the 7 heavens, is the same distance of 500. So I don't know, it's what, 3.5, 5,000 years or something like that. And and between them, above them are the Chayos HaKodesh. Ragli HaChayos is above the 7 heavens. The legs of the Chayos, Keneged Kulam, are as big as all the spaces we mentioned. Karsuli HaChayos, the ankles of the Chayos, Keneged Kulam, as equal as to the entire space we mentioned. Shuke HaChayos, the lower parts of the legs, Keneged Kulam. Rechuve HaChayos, the middle part of the legs, Keneged Kulam. Yarche HaChayos, the upper parts of the legs, Keneged Kulam. Kuve HaChayos, the body of the Chayos, Keneged Kulam. Savari HaChayos, the neck of the Chayos, Keneged Kulam. Rosh HaChayos, the head of the Chayos, Keneged Kulam. Karne HaChayos, the organ of the Chayos, Keneged Kulam. Lamala Me'em, and above all of that, the 500 years, the 7 heavens of 500 years, and then the legs and the ankles and the knees and the thighs and the abdomen and the head and the horns all the way up. then you get to main Kisei HaKavod. And now we're not done yet. Raglei Kisei HaKavod Kenegulin. The legs of the Kisei HaKavod, heavenly throne, is as large as all of them. Kisei HaKavod Kenegulin Malach Kelchai Kaiv Raman Isa Sheichein Aleim. And then what is there? There's the king himself, the Melech, the king himself, Hashem himself, is upon all of this. And you fool Nimrod. You're going to ascend. You know where you're going to go. You're not going to go up, but you're going to go down to the bottom of the pit. Credible Baskol. We continue. We're at the 2 dots. 5 lines for the medium-sized lines. Says the Gemara of Loy b'merkava b'yachid. You're not darshan merkava with one person. Tani Rav Chia. Aval meisilei broshay parkim. You're not to give like hints, chapter headings. Amar Rav Zirei meisilei broshay parkim al avbezin. Even that you can only give to the avbezin. L'chol misha liboy doig b'kir boy, to someone who has incredible yira, whose heart is worried with him. Some say v'shliboy doig b'kir boy. That what do you mean they could give the broshay parkim? It meant only if his heart he has this level of yira. This is what we were commenting on before, that we see from here that you can't learn the Sisrei Torah unless you have certain qualities. We're on the first medium-sized line. What are the 5 entities, says the Gemara? Sar Chamishim. You have to be a captain of 50. V'nasei upon him, you're respected. V'yoyetz, and you advise people. V'chacham charashim, teacher of the wise. V'navoin lachash, and you comprehend and you understand the mysteries. V'amar avami in moisin divrei Torah levi kachavim. You can't teach Torah to goyish and amar lo esakein l'chol goyim mishpatim al yidam. Amar Rav Yechon Rav Elazar ta gamrucha b'maisim merkava. So now we have an incredible story. Says Rav Yechon to Rav Elazar, come, let me teach you the maisim merkava. Amar lei lo kashai. I'm not old enough. I'm not old enough to learn Ma'aser Merkava Kikash. And then when Rav Elazar got old enough, Nach Lashem Rav Yechon was already enough there. Amar lei Rav Yosi Tag Amrucha Ma'aser Merkava. Come, let's learn the Ma'aser Merkava. Amar lei Zakai Gamir to Rav Yechon. If I would have been Zeicha, I would have learned it from Rav Yechon Rabach, and I wasn't Zeicha, so I'm not learning it now. So we see over here that even Tanai and Amarayim refrained from learning certain Sisrei Torah. They didn't feel they were Ra'i Lakach. Rav Yosef Ave Gamir Ma'aser Merkava. Rav Yosef learned the Ma'aser Merkava, Sabi from Bedisa. The elders of Parvadisa, Veitani Ma'aser Bereshis, they learn Ma'aser Bereshis. Amar le Ligmar Lon Mar Ma'aser Merkava. So the elders of Parvadisa said to Rav Yosef, you should teach us Ma'aser Merkava. And Amar Lahu, and Rav Yosef said to them, Agmar li Ma'aser Bereshis. Let's swap. You teach me Ma'aser Merkava, and I'll teach you Ma'aser Bereshis. Pasa de Gamron. So after they finished teaching him Ma'aser Bereshis, they said to him, Amar le Ligmar Mar Ma'aser Merkava. Okay, repay the favor. Teach us Ma'aser Merkava. Amar Lahu, Tanina Bahu. He said no. It says about these matters, the vash v'cholav tachas l'shaynei, honey and milk under your tongue. Dvarim ha'metukim b'dvash v'cholav yetachas l'shaynei. Things as sweet as honey and milk under your tongue. He says, I can't teach you Ma'aser Merkava. Says the Gemara, Ravu Amar Mehacha, another source, Kivasim Lelav Sheikh, like the lambs be your clothing, the Varim Sheikh Kivsainai, things that are like a Kisaina, the mystery Shalaylam Yetachas Levu Sheikh should be under your clothes, meaning should not teach it to anyone else. So Amar Lei, so the elders of Pampadisa continues the Gemara, said to Rav Yosef, Tanina Beho, Ad Vayomer Eli Ben Adam. Teach us until the verse that says Yomer Eli Ben Adam. Amar Lahu, Rav Yosef responds, Ain't Ma'aser Merkava. No, that is the Ma'aser Merkava. What do you mean only teach you till there? That's where it is. I can't teach that to you. Says the Gemara, Meisvei, in the last medium-sized line. Adechan Ma'aser Merkava. Until where is in Yechezkel is Ma'aser Merkava. Rabbi Omer Ad Ve'ira. Basra, the second Ve'ira, Rav Yitzchak Amar Ad Chashmal. Till the pasuk about the Chashmal, literally the electricity, as we'll see about the Ma'aser Merkava. Continues the Gemara, Ve'ad Ve'ira Megamrinan, until the Ve'ira, the first Ve'ira of the Chashmal you could teach. Mekan Ve'elach Masyuna Rashi Prakim. After that, Ad Ve'ira, until the first Ve'ira, or till Chashmal you could teach. Until after that you only could give Rashi Prakim. Mikad Yamri, some say Ad Ve'ira Masyuna Rashi Prakim. Mekan Ve'elach Emuchacham, even Midai Toyen, you could teach him. Imloi Loi Umidarshina Bechashmal. Ask the Gemara, are we able to darshin about the Chashmal? Va'hu Yanuka the Darsh Bechashmal. There was a kid that learned these psukim. V'nafka Nura V'chalse, and a fire came out. He consumed him. So how are you telling me you're allowed to darshin these psukim? Explains the Gemara. You know why? Why? Because he was a kid. Shiny Yanuka Zim. He didn't reach his time. He wasn't mature enough. That's why the fire consumed him. How careful one has to be to learn matters that are age appropriate. Amar Rav Yehuda says the Gemara 4 lines to the bottom. Baram Zachar Oisa Ish Latoiv. In truth, we should remember that man. A line that reminds us of the Megillah Purim season. V'Chananya ben Chizkiah Shemai El Mali Unignas Ibi Yechezkel Shayat Dvarav Seisir Devrei Torah Ma'asu. If not for him, the book of Yechezkel would have been concealed, would have been hidden. Why? Shayat Dvarim Seisir Devrei Torah. Because it sounds like the words of Yechezkel are arguing with the Torah. Ma also, what did Hanani Bechizkiah do? When he brought 300 barrels of oil, when he sat there and he darshan, the Mepharshim explained he used this oil for light, he used this oil for food as well, and he sat there and he darshan and he reconciled the entire book of Yechezkel with the Torah itself. The story with the kid, Shekar Beis Rabbi B'Sev Yechezkel Vayamevin B'Chashmal. And he was contemplating about the psukim about Chashmal, v'yotze eish b'Chashmal, v'sar falsoi, and the fire came out and burnt him. Ubikshu. So because of what happened, they said, enough of this, let's be done with the Sefer Chazkel. Said to them, if the kid was a chacham, a child prodigy, is everyone so wise? He was able to contemplate the Ma'aser Merkava, which eventually led to his demise, but not everyone is able to do that. So what is this that we're referring to the whole time? Amar Rav Yehuda, as we turn over to Yigimel Mebeis, you know what Chashmal is referring to? Chayois eish mimalois. The Chayah is speaking fire. That is what the Chashmal is. Another pshat. Itim chashais, itim emalois. The times these Chayos were quiet, and at times they were speaking. B'shash adibar yatzim pikadosh baruch hu. When Hashem Himself talks, chashais, they were quiet. That's when they would talk. And the chayos are running back and forth. Like the appearance of the bazlik. What does that mean? So first two, like a flame that comes out of a fiery furnace and then jumps back in. What does that mean? Like the light that comes out between the shards of an earthenware vessel and it shatters. Va'ira v'hinei ruach sara. And the pasuk says, and behold, I saw there was a stormy wind coming, ba min hatzafin, from the north. Anan gadol, a great cloud, ve'isha mislakachas, and a flashing fire, v'noiga loisaviv, and a brilliance surrounding it. U'mitaycha k'inach hashmal, and from inside this incredible stormy, windy area, what came out of it? The colors of the chashmal miteicha eish, from amidst the fire. Le'echan azul. Where did the stormy wind go? From Bavel, Rav Yehuda Rav Shalach lekivshan, as kol ha'olam kula, it went to conquer the entire world. Tachas Nebuchadnezzar, give it to the rulership of Nebuchadnezzar, Rasha. Why? So the people should not say, the nation of the world should not say, that Hashem gave over to the hand of a lowly nation his people. Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, mi garam loy she'ayeh shamash lo'ivdei pesilim. Says Hashem, who caused me to be a shamash, that I have to assist at some level the idol worshippers. Avoinoi seyem shal Yisrael in garmuli. That's what caused it. Ve'ira chayos, and the psukim continue in Yechezkel about 12 lines down. The first one in the line is Ve'ira, and I saw the chayos v'nei oifen echad be'eretz eitel chayos, and behold, there was one oifen that was on the earth with the chayos. Amar Avlazim Malach Echad Shu Oimid Ba'aretz. There was one angel who stands on the ground, V'roishim Agilitz LaChayos, and his head goes all the way up to the chayos. Minastida Tana Sardaflin Shamoy. The name of this angel was Sardaflin. Hagavoya Mechaver Malachamish Meyoshana, and he was greater than his friend, taller 500 years. V'oimid Achayri Merkava, and he's standing behind the Meiser, behind the Merkav, the chariot of God, and he's tying on crowns to Hashem Himself. Says the Gemara, is that true? Says, blessed is Hashem from His place, and we don't know the place, and no entity knows the place of God. So how could we even say that there is this angel who's tying on the crowns to Hashem? You know why? This angel Saldaflin, you know what he does? He says the Shema Taga, he says the name of Hashem on the crown, And then the crown goes and floats onto whatever it means, the head of Hashem. Amar Rava goes Ra Yechezkel Ra Yeshaya. Said Rava, everything that Yechezkel saw, Yeshaya saw. Lami Yechezkel Daimel like Ben Kafar Sharas Hamelech. You know what it's comparable to? Yechezkel. Yechezkel is comparable to. We're 3 lines from the medium-sized line to a Kafar, to a villager who saw the king. Lami Yeshaya Daimel. You know Yeshaya is similar to LeBen Karach, to a city dweller. That saw the king, that he had a more intimate understanding because he understood Malchus better. They both, Be'etzem, Yeshaya and Yechezkel saw the same vision, but Yechezkel understood it on a much deeper and more intimate level. And we continue, says the Gemara, and that's the reason why when Yechezkel explained the vision he saw, it was with many more details. Amar Reish Lakish Ma'idach Seiv, what is the meaning of the pasuk Ashir Hashem Ki Goi Ga? Says the pasuk, I sing out to Hashem Ki Goi Ga Shira Lami Shemizga Alageim. We're singing out to Hashem, to the one that is greater and what is exalted above the exalted ones. The Amar Mar, as we explain, Melech Shebechayo Ari Melech says the Gemara, what's this referring to? The king of the beasts is the lion, the king of the animals is the ox, Melech Shabaifis is Nesher, the eagle of Adam is Ka Alehem, and the person, the human being, is above all of them. V'HaKadosh Baruch Hu Miskal, Kulon is greater than all of them. V'Kol Eilam Kuloi Kasav Echad, and upon the entire world, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Miskal, Kulon, V'Kol Eilam Kuloi. Beautiful. Kasav Echad. Now we're going to compare and contrast some sukkim in Yechezkel. 3 lines into the medium-sized line. One pasuk says that the most Pnei Adam, and their face is like the face of a man, Upnei Aryeh, and the lion's face El Hayamin Larbasa Larbatam, to the right for the 4 of them. Upnei Shar Me'asmol, the face of an ox to the left, Larbatam, to the 4 of them, and then the eagles 4 of them. Uksev, and a pasuk says Varba upon him Lechad Pnei Larba upon him Lechad. There were 4 faces on one. Pnei Echad, Pnei Krov, Pnei Hasheni, Pnei Adam, Hashish, Pnei Arya, Pnei Nesher. So says the Gemara, V'ilu Shar like a chashiv. So what's going on? Where are the faces over here? We're missing the face of the shar. The face of the shar on the heavenly throne, whatever this means exactly, of the chayos, etc. The face was turned into a krov. Why? Amr Lefanav said Yechezkel Rabbeinu Shalaylam. Kategar Nasas Anegar. You have a face of a shar that's a remembrance of the eagle. Last week's parsha. So what do we do instead? Says Yechezkel, change it to the krov. Why? So we don't have a bad remembrance up on the Markava of Hashem. My krov, what is a krov? Amaravua kerubaya, like a rubaya, like a child. Shekain bebavel, currently a nuka rabaya, they call a child a rubaya. Amli rababla rabaya lemihat. Tachsev b'nei acham b'nei krov b'nei Hashem b'nei adam b'nei Ari b'nei Anesher. Hainu b'nei krov, hainu b'nei adam. I don't understand, because over here now, for changing the meaning, then it comes out that it says b'nei krov, it says b'nei adam, but it's the same thing. Abei Ravri v'abei Zudri, answers the Gemara, one is an adult child, one is an adult, and one is a small child. The Kruv is a small child, Pnei Adam is the adult. Continues the Gemara, there were 6 wings on each one of the of these angels. Were 4 faces and 4 wings. So were there 6 wings or were there 4 wings? Says the Gemara, what does that mean? As if the wings of the chayos, the wings of the angels up above in the heavenly chariot, were diminished after the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. Absolutely incredible. Says the Gemara, which wings were reduced? The wings with which they would sing a shira. It says in this pasuk, and with 2 of them they would fly, they would call to each other, Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. And the other pasuk says, You called out your eyes and it's gone. So between these two psukim, we see that the wings used for flying and the wings used for song, that's what disappeared by the Chorban. But Rabbanan Amri, no, not those wings, the wings that covered their legs. Shenamar Raglayim Regel Yeshara, because Yechezkel writes that he saw that the legs of the Chayos were a singular leg. How do you know that if the wings covered it? Must be that they lost those wings. Not the fact that they lost those wings. How do you know that their legs were singular? It must be those were the wings that disappeared. Ask Bar, how do you know? Maybe in the vision Yechezkel just saw the legs of the angels, so it's not Raya. If you're not going to say this, it says that the face of the Chayas were like a face of a person. Are you going to tell me also that the wings that cover their face were diminished and that's why you saw their face? No. It must be that the face became uncovered for a moment and Yechezkel saw it. That the legs were revealed and he saw it, and therefore we don't have a raya necessarily that it was the legs of the chayos, and therefore that those wings were diminished. Hachi Ashta says the Gemara, what's your raya? The face, it makes sense that they open their wings because they're looking at their creator, their master. But karai, their legs, it's not sneas. It's not appropriate to reveal your legs. So if Yechezkel saw the legs of the malachim, must be those were the wings of the chayos that were diminished. Let's see one more. Astira says the Gemara in the third very wide line. Because one pasuk says thousands of thousands and a myriad of myriads. So the first pasuk sounds like there's some limit. We could count what's in the heavenly servants, and the second pasuk says you can't count. Like Kasha comes on Israel's Kaim comes on Shem Beis Mikdash Kaim. Meaning Kiviyach again. Shenismayi Pamalia Shalmaila, the actual heavenly chariot, the actual angels were diminished when the Beis Mikdash was destroyed. Tanya. Another teretz, Rabbi Yomer Misham Abba Yosef ben Destai El Vayavin Shem Shenenu Misbar Gedud Echad Ligedudav Ein Mispar. So when it says El Vayavin Shmini was Misbar Gedud Echad, that's one Gedud, that's one legion in the heavenly spheres. Well, Ligedudav Ein Mispar, but how many legions there are that we do not know. Teretz number 2, teretz number 3. Rabbi Rabba Amar El Vayavin Shemruni Lenahar Dinar. What is that? That's referred to the angels by the stream of fire. Nahar Dinar Nagod V'Nafik Min Kadmoi Elf Alafin Yimshemui. What is that pasuk referred to? V'Rabban Ravavin Kadmui Yikuman V'Yikuman. That pasuk is the angels standing. So the angels by the fire were one level, and the angels stam were another level. So it says the Gemara, where by this stream of fire do the angels stand? Mizios and Shalchayos, where they come from? They come from the sweat of the Chayos. And where does it empty out? This fiery stream is poured out on the heads of the wicked in Gehenim. An incredible punishment. Yachol, that's where this fiery stream is emptying out to. Come to. No, you know where the fiery stream comes to? It goes those who are ordained, as we'll see in a moment. Shenamar, share come to v'loy is nahar yutzak Yisoidam. Suppose it says those who were ordained, where his foundation was swept away. So what exactly is going on over here? These people that were ordained, and that's where this fiery stream is pouring out onto. In the last line, Tani Amar Rav Shimon Achasid Elutesha Meyois V'Shivim Arba Dayris is 974 generations of people Shekamta Liabaris that they were supposed to be created, but they were not. Those generations Kaidim Shniver Oilam V'Loi Nivra, they weren't created as we turn over to Sidalim Aleph. So that's where the stream of fire came on, and Hashem takes from these generations and sprinkles them in each and every generation. And these are the people in every generation that are brazen-faced. You wonder what's going on with these people. It's almost like they're not full Yidden. So now we know, because these were generations that were not supposed to be created. Shebedar. We'll pick it up from Nachman in the next year.